Ask Reddit.
What's the weirdest dream you've ever had?
My sex dreams are getting concerning. After a long vivid dream the last scene I walked into a bedroom so I could have sex with a chick, but there was a midget in the bed and he wouldn't get out of the room. He had an easel in the room with a drawing of Texas and Mexico and kept talking and pointing to the easel about the best way to defend Texas from a Mexican invasion, so I just put a pillow on his face and pressed. I suffocated a midget so I could have sex. I'm still confused about what this means. It means that you value sex over the future of Texas. You suffocated Henry Marie Raymond de Toulouse-Lautrec Monva? Wow. Sex dreams can be so weird. I once had a really scary nightmare, some fucked up horror scenario, which ended in us getting chased by a dragon. There were some puzzles and skills involved so there was some dying, but I was able to redream from the last dream checkpoint, like in a video game. Somehow this all then turned into me having sex with the dragon and actually coming in my sleep. Really intense. I was so excited and confused. My boyfriend still makes fun of me for that. You might want to consider purchasing a fantasy dildo from www.bad-dragon.com. There are penetrables as well, in case your boyfriend wishes to also have sex with a dragon or other anthropomorphic creatures. And there are penis sheaths in case he wants to pretend to be a dragon while having sex with you. I should have known such things existed. I've passed it on, but my boyfriend does not seem overly thrilled.
When I was about 8 or 9 years old, I would have these dreams that I was pushing boulders up a hill. Sometimes there would be a rubber band holding them back, so I was just pushing with all my might and not going anywhere. I would wake up exhausted. It was a pretty stressful dream to be having as a kid. My recurring dream when I was that age was getting eaten by dinosaurs at the circus. It was way more complicated than that, but I'll spare you the details. Tell me everything. Okay, but remember, you asked for it. It would always begin normally. Cool circus tricks. Acrobats, clowns on unicycles, etc. Then, after the circus ended, there was this after party of sorts. The adults all went and had a fancy shamsi dinner in one of the tents that was decked out to look like an old Victorian dining room. The kids had to stay outside. Once it got dark, they lit a giant campfire. Now, at this point you're probably thinking, didn't she say there were dinosaurs? Yes. Yes, I did. The dinosaurs started as velociraptor skulls on the back of this family's heads. Like, they were born with a fucking dinosaur skull growing out of their skull. The parents and the 2 kids. Around the campfire, we would gather in a circle, holding hands, and start chanting. I don't remember what we chanted. I used to and it was fucking weird. Anyway, this chant woke up the dinosaurs. They grew dinosaur bodies and immediately went on a rampage, eating as many people as possible. My brother would always pick me up under his arm and run with me to get away. Sometimes we would make it. Sometimes we wouldn't. I had a dream that my mom, who was dying from cervical cancer, went into full remission and was better again. Woke up in the morning and we got the call that she had died. The dream felt so real. Still feels like it was a big fuck you from the universe. Maybe it was the universe trying to assure you she wasn't hurting anymore. I've never thought about it that way. Thanks. You got to experience the universe she lives in now. Earlier this morning we had to put down our family dog. He had cancer and stopped eating. I have not cried this hard in a long time. I've lost grandparents and friends, but nothing came close to hurting like this. I have no idea how I'll ever be able to cope with the inevitable loss of my parents. I'm sorry for your loss. Had a dream 2 weeks ago where I walked into a house with a girl. The entire place had green carpeting and had 2 staircases leading up and down. She grabbed my hand and said, "Let's go up to the bedroom." We started walking up the stairs before I shouted to wait a moment. I then proceeded to find a bathroom on the first floor, fill a bucket with water, then proceed to wash the carpets. I then proceeded to wake up a few minutes later. TL drive. I was offered sex and refused because I would rather clean the carpets. I think this means you're going to be too much of a hard worker and ignore what is good in life. I actually like the way you put a positive spin on that nightmare. It kind of made his story better by giving it a happy ending, although it wasn't the one that was wanted. Something I didn't mention was the fact that she looked a lot like a family member. Not having sex is probably the thing I would have wanted to happen. Millimeters, millimeter, those sexy cousins. About 15 years ago, I had a dream nightmare that occurred over 3 nights, like a fucking horror mini-series, picking up nearly exactly where it left off the night before. It was vivid and terrifying in a way that was unlike any other dream I've ever had, and although it happened over 15 years ago, certain images are still just burned in my brain. Convoluted story short. My mother and grandmother metamorphosized into vampires with a bit of harpy flavor and, unbeknownst to me, begin hunting me. At the outset of the dream I am on foot, going in and out of shops, but as my vampire mother and grandmother close in on me, Jim Carrey arrives in a badass Corvette and swoops me up, getting us out of there just in time. The rest of the dream is basically a horror action sequence of cat and mouse, with harpy vamps chasing and nearly catching me us, and my hero, Jim Carrey, helping get us out of close call after close call. It sounds ridiculous, even funny. I cannot describe the abject terror this dream filled me with for weeks after I had it. Alrighty then. Come with me if you want to live. It's like a reverse of unfortunate events. Shit. I want my dreams to be like this. Fortunate events. The 3-part mini-series. Really needing to dial 911, but accidentally putting in 991 every single time, and then having to redial again and again. Plus, I was using one of those rotary dial phones. Rotary phones scare me too, you just gotta remember they're just as scared of you as you are of them. Just remember they're practically obsolete. The next generation won't even know how to use them. What do you mean, next? Edit. Even last generation was dumbfounded by that thing. Fun fact. I was working on blueprints for a client, doing an administrative office building, call center plus some other functions, for a healthcare company. We were instructed to designate a phone jack for their red phone. Not a phone line to the Kremlin, sorry, not that cool. But it is of an old-school rotary phone that is to be used if the power, backup generator, and building UPS all fail, since the rotary phone needs no auxiliary power. Turns out they're still being made exactly for this purpose. It was during a midday nap, which normally produces the most vivid dreams for me. This was also when I started trying to get lucid. I dreamed that I woke up in my bed and walked into my living room to greet someone. The dream reset and I woke up in my bed again and I walked out to do dishes. The dream reset and I walked into my living room only to get chased around by a small quick monster that I never really got a good look at. The dream reset, etc. This dream reset on me 7 times. During that 7th wakening, the pattern of it finally occurred to me, and I remember excitedly thinking, I've been here before, I'm dreaming. Immediately after having that thought, a voice that conjured up imagery of a group of men in suits and scrubs, a voice that sounded like it came from outside of my dreamscape said, he knows. Get him out of there. And then I woke up alone. Creepy. I've woken up from a voice that seemed out of the dreamscape before, and it's unsettling. I have a habit of hearing someone whisper my name in my ear just as I'm falling asleep. Also unsettling.